Hello there, friends and followers. Happy Wednesday. So I'm trying to replace this Dallas RTC chip. This is a DS1287 real-time chip. The battery in this thing is dead. So what I'm doing here is, this is basically the boot board for the Paragon 2 that has the ROM in it, some RAM for this chip, or RAM for the system really, and the RTC chip. So what I did was I bought a socket to install in there. There's the socket. Then the whole crux of the matter is, how do you get this chip out? Well, it's not easy. So what I did was, you want to first remove this thing by any means possible. You can't break this thing up, it's too tough. So what I did was, I got wire cutters and I cut some of the pins on one side from the underneath. So I was able to sneak some wire cutters under there and get some of the pins off. And I cut them like that. Then this chip would tilt up, and then I simply just bent it back and forth until the rest of the pins came off. And then what I did was, I took some needle nose, and from the other side, these little pins were still existing and poking out of the board. So the pins are very small, and there's a couple right there on the table. Two of them that are crossed. So I simply then heated up each joint with a soldering iron and pulled each pin out. With a pair of needle nose, you can heat and then pull each pin out. Very tedious, but you want to do that without damaging these traces, and you want to get all the holes cleared. And then that doesn't really give you cleared holes. So the way you get light to go through these holes and you get them cleaned up, and you can see they got light through there, is you want to apply a little bit of solder to each of these holes. Actually, this doesn't make sense. I did first of all use solder wick, so I tried to solder wick this whole thing to see if I can get lucky, and I did. Some of the pins came right out, only a few of them though. The rest I had to really pull out by hand, like I've said, with these little needle nose pliers here. And then you want to actually add more solder. So then I added solder to each of these joints to make them flow through, and then you want to get the solder sucker. And this is counterintuitive, but when you have a good glob of solder on there, you can then heat this thing, and then you can pull the solder off with the solder sucker. And so you do that for each of these holes until you get a clear pattern of holes here. And you can see these are all cleaned out, thank goodness. So then once these are all cleaned out, you can get this agate socket here, or any socket that fits. I personally want the better ones. So this one's actually machined. I don't want some old tin socket with pressed pins. You want to line it up with the pin 1 here, with the pin 1 indicator, which is the notch on this socket here. And you can just pop it in here and solder it. You want to make sure that there's no shorts here, so you want to go through that very carefully and make sure there's nothing wrong, because you're not going to want to take the socket back off unless you're a masochist. And then we'll put the socket on here now with one hand, and it goes right in. There it is, and you can see the pins are all there, so they can be soldered in now to the board. And then once that's done, the whole reason for this is a new Dallas semiconductor chip will be easy to put in and replace. So once I get a new chip in the mail here, I can simply place that chip in this board and put it in, and hopefully it'll work. So that's it. I wanted to get that socket in there and see if it was going to be easy or hard. It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't great either. So it's in there, and I'm just waiting for a new Dallas semiconductor. I think I got a DS1287, even from here in Las Vegas, so we'll see how that works out. If I can get them in and out of there easily now, when they wear out, put new ones in, I think we'll be okay. Okay, well, thanks for watching again. This is for the Paragon 2. kind of trying to finish up the details on the radio, and the RTC chip was bad, so I wanted to get a carrier in here and a socket, and then have the ability to put another RTC chip in here. Will this work? I don't know, but I think I was successful in not damaging the board and getting a socket in here just fine. So that's what you want to do. All right, time to solder on the socket. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.